Hello, people. Okay, let's start. I reviewed this PR. There were some changes made, and then I did some more reviewing, so it's still in progress. I think it's getting close.
I fixed the various minor changes that were to be made.
Okay, yeah, and I see we have an approval from Brian Upton. I mean, it's just been open for a while, right? 17th of January.
Yeah,
looked at
more than 4 weeks.
Yeah. Anybody who still wants to take a look at it, or should we just go ahead, given that it's a docs improvement and we already have one approval, and we have two. I mean, Benjamin himself is also an approver, so I think it's okay. We just merge. Okay.
At a high level, it definitely seems good, and there's no way that it's worse than what was there. It's definitely a net improvement, even though I've only looked at it for like 5 seconds.
Great.
Thanks for that. What was the next action here? Why is it pending reviews? Oh, this one actually has branch protection.
Huge mistake.
Okay. Huge mistake. I mean, I think I can work around this. Sure, yada yada yada. Let's get this out of the way.
That's once we build a stem cell without, it's probably something we should call out somewhere. I don't know where exactly, maybe just stem cell release notes, just because it will change if somebody's doing an apt install now, they're going to be looking at the old view of the world, not the current view of the world.
You mean within the stem cell?
Yeah. Oh, wait, is
It
that
shouldn't
true?
be.
Yes. Yeah, because now we use the archive repo for the apt config.
Yeah, would be good to call that out. Although it's nobody should be using or installing app packages.
Right. Nobody would write a Bash release that does that.
I mean, they should at least bring their packages themselves.
They should do that, yes.
I can set up a script that if they use apt-get install, that it will just implode something, just like destroys the VM itself.
I mean, that's
deletes a random package.
Yeah, that's yeah. Introduces a random fault. That should be a feature or a thing that we prioritize for Noble. Put on the wish list.
This was something Constantine reacted on, and I was waiting on that if he. yesterday, I think LB type would be nice, would be better. Just need to add the docs for it. And then they can just say which LB type they want. It's backwards compatible.
Are you agreeing with Constantine or not?
I'm not agreeing with Constantine because
Okay,
it's
could you then maybe comment here?
It's not hard to it doesn't work in the new Terraform that way.
Okay, but can you update
Yeah,
the issue with your opinion so that it's also known to Jochen? Okay. Ooh. For context, we've had a story in our backlog for a long time, which is called Monit and then Arrow Volcano. So this is part of it. Oh, not Monit, Event Machine, right? We also have one for Monit, but this is for Event Machine. Yeah, the Monit one is more like aspirational. This is for Event Machine because it's a Event Machine, as you might all know. We're on this really weird version. It's yes. So we're installing it via Git because we are on an unreleased version since the Ruby 3.0 work. And there has not been a release since 2018. So there has been work to get it into a state where it's compatible with Ruby 3.0. But nobody has got a release. So it's just something we should try to move away from. And I believe this is part of it. It's not all of the work that needs to happen, just moving in that direction. Yeah, I think this is impacts quite a few things. I mean, this is still using Event Machine. I don't know. Someone should take a look at this. I'll just to find the why behind why we're trying to move here.
Did we try to go from Thin to Puma for other stuff a long time ago?
I think the cloud controller does that, and didn't we do it for? I don't know what these changes are about. This is the help monitor. Didn't we do it for the main director already?
I think we did.
We tried to do that, but we still needed to keep the thin client in there for something else. That's what I remember from, there was something last year. I think that was due to with getting the status of the directory.
This is the help monitor or the director metrics server.
It was
right?
the API endpoint for the director. Could be that
metric
this is
server.
it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
trying to get back into my memory to dig there.
Yeah, there was a concern over there's a metrics endpoint on Bosch. I don't know if it's this or not. It shouldn't be this because it was like it's the Bosch director itself has an endpoint for its metrics, and it's about the controller endpoints and like their number of requests and performance or whatnot. And you can't do that with Puma since it's separate processes. I don't know what happened with that though, but I would think that the metric server itself changing that should be fine because it shouldn't be reporting on itself ever. So it having a split brain.
I'm just mentioning it.
Yeah, no,
I know that SAP had something that they were checking the specific endpoint.
I remember what you're talking about, and I don't remember the exact details of it either.
okay. So I think this is the meat. This is like the right. So there's two of the gem part director of the gems that we have that are removing their dependency on thin.
Okay.
So this is not removing event machine yet. It's just removing thin.
I'm guessing Thin must have set the EM constant to be helpful for everybody else.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, it's maybe for Max, it's just a reminder, maybe their team that they.
Oh yes, the pipeline. So I removed the bumps that had been done by the bot because it was bringing so many change files. It was not possible to review anything with that. So we can rerun the bot later on the main repository.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever pseudo release I've made on GStack.
Okay, so plan forward here is to review this, look at the reviews, and then Ramon will try to set up the pipeline in the community,
Yeah.
right?
we decide-
Was the Golang part now used for the Golang packages, or?
It's
What was
a
the-
pipeline that is able to bump the Golang package, and I've managed to bump to 1.22 with a problem that in the Go mod file I get a 1.22 and missing the .0 that is required now as well. And basically it's able to, it demonstrated it's able to bump Golang dependencies of the and rebuild, bump the Golang package of the Bosch release, and cut a new release of the Bosch release. So the pipeline does the three things. And it also runs tests whenever there is something new on master or whenever there is a new pull request, but there are no tests actually, they are empty. So
Yeah, okay,
this
but
is yet to be
you're
populated.
using your own bump Go version script instead of using the upstream Golang.
Oh, that's right. Yes, there is a small yeah, that's right. We've discussed that last week, indeed.
Yeah, I don't mind for either one. It's just that, yeah, it's just, that's there, like we discussed last week, and if you want to use it, you can use it.
In the main job, there were some recent stuff I was not really comfortable with. So
yeah, that was the setting of the. What was it again? With the version number, I think, the little patch version number.
Yeah, and we did a lot of work on that script last week or this week, sometime between the last meeting and now, because renamed some of those environment variables and realized it was bad and wrong. Because of the new Golang stuff, if you ever do, actually, that was more for bumping the depths, not the package itself. We changed the bump depth script, which does a go get -u /... which, surprise, now updates Golang itself, not just dependence packages, but Golang and the tool chain are now considered as dependent packages. So if you just run a go get -u /... it's like, oh, here's a new version of Go for you, which is like, that's not what I wanted you to do. So the script now has the right syntax to not do that, basically. And also, I think it's bump depths is the script at the top. So now it no longer does what it does. It has to do this go get -u and like specify the Go version and the tool chain to what you want it to be. Otherwise, it just gets updated out from under you. The previous incarnation of this did technically work. It just basically updated everything, including Go version, and then like set it back again in the next command where we did a Go tidy with the Go mod version. But now it keeps it consistent throughout the script and works as far as we can tell.
I will check that. Yeah, it looks better indeed. An improved
Yeah.
version.
And
Right.
we cleaned up the input variable. Check the YAML file. What is it called now? If you don't set anything, it just gives you the previous version as sort of a minimum. But if you want a desired Go major minor, you can say 1 dot. So it'll do 1. What's the current version? 22? 22, I think is the current one. So if you don't do anything, it'll do 121 because that's not the one you're using. That's the sort of minimum version that you want to use. But you can specify a different one in there. Although you can't specify very many different ones because of the .0 syntax, you can't actually go back to like 117 because 117.0 isn't a real thing. But going forward, it will allow you to sort of pin back your minimum version more easily. It's confusing and bad, and we meant to spend 20 minutes on it, and we ended up spending an entire day making this work again. And I'm not happy with Golang.
Isn't that always the case? Like, this is quickly done.
We just wanted to change the environment variable name. We're like, this is kind of confusing. What is it doing? And then we're like, oh, what is it doing? I had a question about this. So did we decide what we want to do? Are we just putting this in main, or are we making teams? Like, I feel like we touched on that. I don't remember what we actually decided.
So all the stem cell specific stuff will go to its own pipeline.
Okay.
Own group.
Own team,
all
right?
The rest will be in main. The problem is we need to do some database migration stuff because there is no actual thing to migrate pipelines from one team to another.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I thought they would be now at like the last year. I thought, but
Yeah, there's
the
been a
most
lot of
obvious
maintenance.
feature that anyone can think of, but
There's been a lot of updates on Concourse Front, right, in the last year.
There's just
That's
2
true.
patch versions in the last month. We could always just refly it too. If we like, there's not actually anything terribly important in the history, I don't think.
The versions, I think
version's a resource.
no, I think it is.
It's just a history, right? Being able to go back, like
Yeah.
know when. But if everything is green, it's okay, right? But it's more like if things are red for a while, it's good to go back to the last screen.
Up to you guys, whatever you feel more comfortable.
I'm fine with database surgery.
Messing with the database is also annoying. So
Right. Yeah. I'm fine if somebody wants to do database surgery, but I don't think we get a ton of value from that. It's like, oh man, I wish we could go back and see that old version when that was built, but like I've done that so rarely. And most of the time when I want to do it, it's for like the last one. So it's like not like I want to go back 2 years and look at stuff.
I think we removed the history after 50 builds anyways, and that's like 3 months, so maybe 2.
Okay. So it's for whoever does the work to decide. Wait, we were looking at this. Yes. We have assigned people. Now we need to put it in and remove you.
Right.
This is
It's a feature.
This is a feature.
I don't know.
Pretty annoying. It would be nice if there was a flag, but
At least for the one that Bosch has variable declarations for.
can you now delete within the CredUp CLI? Can you now delete a whole path, or is that still not a thing? I used to do it with safe and then with the proxy to Gradle, but
The CLI does have that, but I don't think it's a real thing via the API. I think the CLI is just like find everything that looks like this and then delete them all.
okay.
But I mean, the director could do the same thing, but also you don't really want to do that. You'd only want to delete things that there's a variable declaration for, because like somebody else could just like throw something in there and reference it. And it's like, well, we didn't make that, you made that.
Yeah, I think we
But
did
for the
that. We did something like that with Carousel, right? And then he knew which one was generated by Bosch and which one wasn't by.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so. But I mean, like, if this, I mean, we have the cleanup feature in Bosch already, right? So this could be part of it. But I agree, it would be nice to at least maybe do the same thing as with like disks, right? You clean them up after a while. But I mean, like,
It's messy because then you got to track them. And if I
Yeah.
deploy and then I
Yeah.
redeploy and then I removed a variable, like that has to get flagged somewhere is like, yeah, this seems like the right solution for now.
I like
This
this
is the right
one.
solution, yes.
Has everybody read it? Like, are there any people that like want to make changes to this, or can we approve this collectively?
Seems good.
Don't quickly see any spelling errors, so it seems like that's
Could use
nice.
some sad emojis.
Yeah. We are
Really?
very sorry. We cannot facilitate.
Yeah, I have questions about this. Like, I want more knowledge. I don't know what this does. Yeah, I know, I see what it does. It installs stuff,
What is
installs a bunch of
USU?
packages. Yeah, that's a good starting point. I don't know. But it's a thing people ask for who are interested in FIPS. Apparently.
Ubuntu Security Guide is a tool. Hardening tool.
Is that what it means?
It seems like it's doing some benchmarking on it, on the system itself, and then does some security checks. But we don't want this in a stem cell. It needs to be done before the stem cell. This is when it's built. It's basically when this stuff it will never change. Well, it should not ever change.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's still questions.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't want scanning tools in a stem cell ever.
I mean, this could easily be installed through a Bosch add-on, right? Like, if someone wants this in all their instances, they could
Yeah,
run
can be with an add-on or
something.
something with a Bosch release, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't do it with apt install.
Ah, no. That's a bit of documentation, code modifications with no real testing, I have to confess.
It's a VirtualBox CPI.
Mm.
But that's quite a
Just-
lot of changes.
The individual commits at the beginning are doing small, reasonable improvements. The 6 or 7 first commits, and the last 2 ones are really refactoring the feature with host-only networks. The main thing is that you basically, in the first place, you don't choose the name. It's pbox 0, then pbox 1, pbox net 0, pbox net 1, etc. But with the newer version, the CLI of which seems to be only available on macOS, not Linux, you are able to create host-only nets, not a host-only if interface. and you have the possibility to choose the network name now with newer VirtualBox, but only on macOS, as it seems. Well, this is just allowing you to name your network instead of just guessing which VBoxNet X is going to be created next time you invoke that. Before, it was hard-coded to VBoxNet 0, only that, period. So I just thought we could relax that constraint.
Does it still default to VBox 0 if you specify nothing?
It's the first one to be created. Yes, it's basically the default. Yeah.
And does it work as both for VirtualBox 6 and 7? Or 8? I don't even know what we're currently
To be
on.
tested. It's missing some test
update?
cases.
Yeah, but I mean, like there's no test cases or not many, right? Anyway, but could you at least specify which versions and OSs you tested yourself, so that reviewers might like want to run some additional testing. For
Right,
example,
I
if you
do
have
that.
not run it on Mac OS or something, someone else can do that.
Okay.
There are no tests added here, but it doesn't negatively impact the code coverage.
Indeed.
Are there any tests with Bosch VirtualBox API release anyway?
There's one.
Oh,
It's
but-
like creates home dirt.
Yeah, it's running an empty test suite. It's green. It's running.
There's like 9
Green.
sweet tests and 1 actual test, and in that test it just checks for home directory.
Yeah, something really silly, but yeah.
Right. And
Hey,
then it would
works,
have
it
been easy
works.
to dramatically increase the test coverage. Um, yeah, someone did stuff to a make file.
I don't even know what stem build is. Never seen it.
How you build Windows stem cells? You can build all your Windows stem cells there as long as they're for vSphere, because after they did that one, they got bored and we got acquired by somebody, I forget who, and then work on it stopped. But the goal was to make all Windows stem cells built using stem build, and it just stopped. And then recently we changed it so that all of these artifacts are actually downloaded as part of when we build stem build. So stem build builds the Windows stem cell. It's got a build and a package command. So one like takes your Windows image VM that you have and like stem cellifies it, and then package like makes a tarball stem cell from it. So what stem build is just a binary. So it has to come with the agent and all the Blobster CLIs inside that binary. So it used to be all those things were like in here via a submodule to the Bosch agent, which for some reason also had them in it. And recently we were like, let's just have the pipeline like gather all of these dependencies for when we build stem build. But if you try to build stem build yourself, you don't have all those dependencies. And I think this is a way of trying to solve that problem.
No,
Probably add me as a reviewer, since I removed at least one of those recently. Sean asked me about this and he was like, how do I build this? I'm like, we don't build that. Only the pipelines build that. It needs like 9 different external dependencies. We could have done the other thing where we have a robot like constantly update this with like we do for the stem cells with links to the other things, but we didn't want 1,000 commits in here that nobody cares about.
Why isn't it called Windows stem build or Windows stem cell?
Maybe they had hopes and dreams of all stem cells being built this way.
Hmm.
It was the Bosch Windows team though, so I don't think those were their hopes and dreams. But yeah, if anybody wants to expand it to work for all the public ISs, that'd be great. Then we get rid of Packer, but not high on our backlog of work.
Anyone can easily get rid of Packer. You just need to put some effort in it. It's like the Go build, Go. Does it Go? I did it for bootloader once, so I just totally remove Packer. Because the newest Go now has this pretty easy thing to import binaries. Wow.
No. The Packer being the thing that we build stem cells with that like spins up a virtual machine and then like
Oh,
runs a
that's
huge script. That Packer.
Not the Go library. The Packer CLI that's also written in Go, but the one from HashiCorp, right? That's the
Yeah.
one we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Issues.
Memory errors. Oh, that's the
Wait, what?
one.
We have so many. That's crazy. How many issues? Okay, yeah, but that's because we did. Okay.
A lot of noble stuff.
Yeah.
Which
I've been asking people about that.
am I editing the wrong foundational infrastructure working group meeting notes, or are you, Ruben?
You are in this one as well.
Oh, that's confusing because I see a totally different set of contents than you.
Oh wait, I'm not. No, this is the. Oh, am I adding somewhere in the middle? Probably.
This makes more sense now.
Yeah.
I don't see what you see.
What?
You
Oh,
just-
you added this thing?
I added that
Well,
earlier in
this
the week
thing?
and added some agenda items to it.
I see. Wow.
And then I'm like, I don't see my agenda items anymore.
So we probably want to go over the
They're
agenda
both
items then.
they're both pretty quick.
Maybe your doc didn't sync yet, and that's why. Like you logged in later or something. Whatever. We have stuff.
I'm pretty sure I added this one because when I came in here this morning, I saw it. And I was
Mhm.
like, that sounds like something added. And I think what I was talking about was on our side, a lot of the pipelines that are actually open source software utilize. We have a bunch of pipelines that deploy a Bosch director to all the different IaaSes, and a lot of the pipelines conveniently just use those. But we don't have those in the open source. So I don't know if anybody has ideas. We just need to change all the pipelines to bubble up or use the like Warden CPI images where possible. That's sort of the best case that I can think of, but a lot more work to move the pipelines in those cases.
Yeah, for open source we only have for AWS and GCP.
I guess in theory we could use the
I asked for
GCP
Azure
director.
and Ali, but I haven't received. I think I have Azure now, but
But so
never use
do
it.
you, Ramon, are you saying that we do already have long running Bosch directors?
Just the concourse one, right?
No, just the concourse one. We don't have it. We set up for most of the things where we need a Bosch director. We set up like temporary Bosch director with just basically a bubble up or something similar script that does these things.
So yeah, I didn't expect to have any thing there, but know that that's sort of a blocker to moving a lot of the pipelines right now. So we're not getting a lot of traction on many of them. And
Yeah,
then
all
the
CPIs is going to be a thing.
this, yeah, like OpenStack, definitely a problem. vSphere, definitely a problem. Those ones probably just continue to live on our concourse for the indeterminate future. The other ones you sort of need credentials still, which we have 2 out of the 3 at least, but maybe we can come up with Azure creds at some point.
Yeah, we'll check if I still have if we now have the full Azure cred somewhere. I know they created it a year ago or something, but
You can always follow up with Chris, right? You should
yeah, I can always ask.
have
But
access.
I know Chris almost when he creates something, he gives me like full access, and then good luck with it.
And then the other one is the AWS Lite Stem Cell Builder is red. It is due to the PR from last year where we were trying to make it be able to share the FIP stem cells with other users with, I don't fully remember how it was supposed to work, but I know it never actually got to a working state, right?
No, it works.
It is
For
working.
AWS, it works perfectly fine.
Okay.
For GCP to make light stem cell builders is also pretty easy. It's just making a variable in one to make one thing make that variable, like for what if it's private or not. So who has
Okay.
access to it?
I thought we ran into
Um,
some problem with like encrypted volumes or something and sharing the KMS key, or I forget. We
So-
ended up sharing the FIP stem cells just with a heavy stem cell in a bucket, right? Like we never actually ended up sharing that with.
Yeah, we don't create light stem cells for FIPS. We only do like heavy stem cells, and we share that because our CIs really don't care if they need to download a tarball of 3 gigabytes, yes or not.
Right.
But we regularly doing that, and it's working fine.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
good to know.
Tested some days ago. So.
SAP makes its own. They get the tarball from, and then they will make their own light stem cell.
So the pipeline is failing because whatever fixture data there is for the
Yeah,
private AMI.
I looked at that and I could not find the AMI anymore, and I have no idea why, because I haven't cleaned anything up. The only thing I could think of is that our wonderful AMI cleaner has done stuff, but that should not touch it, because it should specifically look for Bosch stem cell in the tags. So
Right. Unless that's the one we used, but I don't know why we would pick that one.
no, yeah, no, it was manually, because it is not even a Bosch stem cell that's used for this AMI. It's like a really thin, like thin Linux or something that we used, like 20 MBs. So yeah, it's really strange. I need to see how I can upload this AMI again. I have no, I haven't had time to look at it. Well, not the time. I just didn't care.
All right. Yeah, and it's not
be
blocking
honest.
anything because that repo doesn't get many commits and it doesn't block stem cell building. But I just wanted
just annoying.
clarification because I remember there was something weird with the KMS stuff and why we didn't use this feature for the FIP stem cells. But knowing that the feature is used and works makes this much cleaner than just we have to fix the pipelines, as
Yeah, we
opposed to
just
like,
need to-
oh,
I
do we
guess-
delete the test? Do we delete the feature? Like, what are we doing? Nobody's using this half-built thing, but knowing that it's fully built and works makes this a lot easier.
Yeah, so it's only the AMI that's missing.
The memory errors.
By the way, do we have an issue about what we were just talking about?
It's just a red pipeline.
Oh. On your side, at Broadcom, I mean.
Oh, the first thing, the
The red pipeline is CFF or is it?
it's CFF. It's part of the stem cell pipeline.
Oh, okay. Okay, right.
Just one of those first steps that don't always run, not somewhere in the middle that blocks stem cell publishing.
Yesterday, something got merged with build time. Unbound variable is now in the build OS image master. Since 40 minutes ago. Did we merge something just now?
Yeah, we merged that.
Ah, okay.
Getting
Well, it's
familiar.
breaking shit.
I think it was Joseph who made that change. Not pointing fingers or anything. Definitely
Oh
not me.
yeah, I remember that now. To be fair, I think that was supposed to be one of 2 PRs, and I don't think we merged. I don't know what did we merge the other one? Stem Cell CI?
Oh, we didn't merge the other one.
We
Oh, but
didn't merge the
why?
stem cell
Like
builder
that?
call, but we did do the CI maybe. I don't know, one or the two. I don't know.
No, but CI should show up here.
Oh, right, but it doesn't. Oh, wait, no, we fixed that.
Yeah, we fixed that.
Well, you fixed it.
There's no PR.
Do we need to repipe maybe?
Did we already merge this? Maybe we just need to fly it. It looks like I didn't merge that. Merge this.
Definitely not me. Yes. Yesterday?
That's
What?
3 weeks ago. Oh, this.
Why did? Okay.
All right, so we probably just need to refly the pipeline. Although that confuses me because I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure it was supposed to be resilient to this, but
Can you check the files if it changes something in the pipeline YAML, or was it only the task?
it does. Yeah,
Because then we just probably need to repipe it.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but
repipe.
this is not required.
The
But
next
this is,
thing
yes.
though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be repiped.
Yeah. There's my inches.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Memory errors.
It's bad, but I don't know why it's bad. We spent all yesterday deploying different isolation segments with different stem cells, and then deploying a broken app. And we were mostly looking at, so the runc has a status command that will just print out a whole bunch of great looking stuff. And one of that is like kernel memory consumed. And we thought that we had a very high correlation between, the newer stem cells have a much higher kernel memory consumed, which I don't know what that means in the context of a container at all. Like, isn't the kernel outside the container? Like, I don't know what that means. But we thought we saw that, the newer ones are using a lot more and then hitting the limit and then out of memory erring. But as we went through the day and went back stem cells, we never actually got to a point where it did drop dramatically. So we don't think that's the issue. We probably have to do more data gathering, because like the runc stats include just like 50 different memory stats. Then I don't know which one we should be looking at for what has changed here. And
So the newest stem cell has a patched level. Well, it's instead of 6.9, 6.5, 17, it's now 18. So they did something. I'm not sure if it solved your issue.
we tested against 1379 and it crashed also. We actually only got it to crash with our test app on 379, although people have reported it back all the way to
Yes, since the kernel bump that we did from 5.9 to 6.2.
In the open source thread, I think some people were saying they even had it on 6.2. But since we haven't been able to crash on anything other than the latest one, and our stats don't really change between them, we haven't actually confirmed that yet.
Okay.
But we're probably going to spend today gathering more data, looking at some of these other attributes.
Is there already a reliable way of reproducing this?
Yes. Well, on the latest stem cell at least, and it is basically a Go app that you import a whole bunch of stuff. It doesn't actually have to do anything, but you import a whole bunch of stuff that requires compilation. And then it didn't fail on so the staging container is 1 gig memory limit, and it didn't fail on a 8 CPU Diego cell. But when you go to 16 CPU Diego cell, it goes like 16. Great, I'm going to parallelize my compilation 16 ways, and then like it runs out of memory in the container. But it doesn't do that in earlier stem cells. So it's like, yeah, I can see why you would run out of memory doing that, and maybe you should limit your number of Go processes to not do that. But it didn't used to break, so we're trying to figure out what's changed on the stem cell side to start doing that. But that seems to be a reliable way of reproducing it.
Is it possible to like maybe have a gist or something where those steps to reproduce it can be shared and that they can be linked back into this?
Maybe I'll see where this Go app came from. I don't know. We got it from one of our internal Jira tickets. I don't know if it's something that we shared, but probably I think it's custom built, not a real app, because it always fails if it passes staging.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll see if I can put the steps in the issue here.
Yeah, I think that would help at least the other folks that are in this thread. Maybe they can also try to see if it reproduces the problem on their side.
Mhm.
Issues.
There were some indentation issues with the repiping the stem cell.
Really?
This is
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
for one, it just like doesn't.
fine to
It's probably just a typo.
definitely prioritized and being worked on. Yes. So there's gonna be an RFC for Noble, but we already have a wish list. We've had that for a while, but this is an effort of I'm trying to get people to submit their ideas, breaking changes that they would like to include in a new stem cell line. So yeah, there's that. This is it's definitely open for contributions.
Aren't you going to pick this up?
Oh, maybe, but I mean, like, I think that's undecided. Like, we'll see what the
So,
scope
but
of
do we
Noble is
really
gonna
want
be.
to have this for Linux as well? Like, we want to get completely rid of Monet?
Probably not
Because
gonna
that
be in
means
one
that
go,
every freaking release needs
but
to.
at least, yeah, but I mean, like, this time around, we at least have two stem cells that will be like supported for a bit, like at the same time, but still, like, totally dropping Monet's probably not feasible. But at least we should start thinking about maybe an alternative. Or at least, I mean, it's tradition, right? Every time we have a stem cell, we have to have this conversation. So.
Oh yeah, I tried that and then I get shut down every time because I just want to update the to the latest Monet.
Yeah, there's always those people as well. Yes, it's definitely like always the same conversation. But like, we're gonna try it again. Let's see where we go.
Okay.
I really don't know why Sean is building Windows stem cells. Oh, I guess you have to if you're on Linux. I guess I don't know why he's. Oh, okay. This is starting to make sense. I guess he's having a problem with stem build and was trying to build stem build himself, and that's where he ran into the other problems. Probably add me to this. I'll take a look.
This is in the same category. Nice things to do for the noble stem cell. This, I think, a lot more feasible. Just moving away from run it. another one. This is a requirement for some of the if you want to use bigger or GPUs with a lot of memory, I think more than 16 gigs. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Not
We plan
surprised.
to invest in the OpenStack CPI in the near future because in the end it was developed by SAP, right? So and we want to go again on the same track. So
It was developed by Verdi. I don't know what other else developed it initially, I believe. But still, yeah, SAP made it into more of a production thing.
yeah, and the problem is it's really very outdated and using still the Fog library that is outdated as well. So I think for such issues, it will take some time.
Is there like a timeline on when you all want to start contributing? Because we probably want maybe to do something with the CI then. I don't know.
So we will start in the next weeks, maybe Q2.
Max, I got the guy from Fog to merge that PR that was needed.
Yes, the question is, do we want to rely on Fog or do we want to go away from Fog in general? Because it's outside of the community and nobody really cares anymore.
Yeah,
The last commit is 2 years old, so maybe it makes sense to go away from this OpenStack Fog library. Unfortunately, there's no other library for Ruby. Well, yeah.
There's this one. I mean, that's a public archive.
Yeah. So we already did some research, and for Ruby, there is nothing else. So yeah, currently we're checking what's the best option.
I think we had a similar problem with Azure and ended up having to write just a HTTP client sort of thing.
Do they have like a Swagger or something where you can generate it? Like open API thing?
The other thing is go into the Fog community and be the owner then of Fog OpenStack. But
I think for vSphere we also do something like this, right? Where we use open API or something to generate
For the
client
NSXT API,
Yeah.
it's all generated via the NSXT Open API docs.
Yeah. So that's a pattern that kind of works.
Yeah, it's not super pleasant, but there was no library and we didn't have to write a lot of code this way. Kind of got to write some code because you're like, oh, we don't want it to do this. You write overrides and things.
Where do you know where it is?
I have no idea where it is. It's in here somewhere.
Oh, here. Probably here. One of those.
I'm not
Yeah,
totally
better
convinced
prefer
about this.
auto-generated objects.
Maybe. Well, that looks like that was done by a human, though. That's something to make the auto-generated objects better. I don't know where the actual auto-generated objects are.
Okay. Yeah. I think those are the examples.
Yeah, we're currently validating what's the best option and then start to improve it. But as I mentioned, it's really outdated and I think we must replace maybe the Fog library completely. So this will take time.
Yeah, it's a good news that there are some maintenance on that CPI. The documentation also on Bosch.io is quite outdated. It is missing some information, like there is a small table indicating if the CPI supports multi-CPI setup, for example. I don't remember but I think for OpenStack the documentation is in the poor state, and large Google Azure, AWS vSphere CPIs have a larger documentation.
I would assume OpenStack supports multi-CPI. Wasn't that a thing, like multi-CPI, wasn't that a thing that like Swisscom was really interested in back then? Because that's
It
how
does.
they did.
We use it multi-CPI for OpenStack currently.
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
That's where whole multi-CPI started, right? With the whole OpenStack stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's,
One of the sort of problems with changing the OpenStack CPI is that like there is a wide range of people using a wide range of OpenStack versions, and like the current CPI is tested against what is it, Queens or whatever it is not supported. Whatever our cluster is that we tested against is like not a supported version, and like most of the people running OpenStack that we run into like aren't running supported versions. So it's like, what do you develop and test and support against? Like it's very
Yeah, but if
awkward.
you check the APIs, then most of them are backwards compatible. I think
That's
the
good.
OpenStack community knows that this is a big issue, and have this in mind. So I don't think that this will be a big issue. Of course, it could be that we have from time to time some compatible issues, but yeah, let's see.
So is this the first CPI that's going to be rewritten in Rust? Or
Yeah, we also thought about to rewrite it, but to be honest, let's see.
OpenStack is not upgraded. OpenStack installation are hard to upgrade because OpenStack is not using Bosch or being deployed.
I mean, once upon a time, there was some good starting places for writing CPIs, right? Like there was a shared Ruby library that you could sort of build off, and there's a shared Go library that most of the CPIs are built off of one of those two, or at least many of them are. But you know, nobody's updated the underlying Go one in a while, although it presumably still works fine-ish. But like, also, I don't know if there's good options for talking to OpenStack via Golang either, and you'd still be rewriting you'd still have to implement a large portion of it.
Yeah, but I think we will start to try to update it instead of
Yeah.
rewriting it.
Yeah, that's a big step.
Yeah, they also link here the fork library
Hmm.
in the official documentation. So
no, this is the Golang. This is for
this
Golang.
is the Golang. Okay, yeah, but for Ruby, the official OpenStack's documentation still point to the fork library.
And the maintenance of FOB is discontinued?
At least there's nobody working on it. And the last commit is 2 years old, so
Okay.
it's not archived, but yeah, it's also outdated, so it will not help us.
All their APIs are backwards compatible. Why would you ever need to change it again? It's done. It's done software.
I think the only thing we must do is to go away from the V1 endpoints to the V3 endpoints, and that's it. So
Ruben, you're assigning
Yeah.
Benjamin to his own.
It's my
I'm
own
just,
issue.
I
But
mean,
it's an
yeah,
issue.
but he like already
Oh, he already
fixes
placed
it in
the
a
PR.
PR.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I'm just updating it with reality.
It's just a responsibility to close the issue when we are done with the PR.
I just want to get this inbox clean. Inbox 0.
Mm.
Yeah, so the below there is also going to be Benjamin because there is also PR for it.
It's
This
just
one, either, yes.
yeah,
This is
but
related
it's not
to.
linked. Oh, it's here.
No, it's
right?
yeah, it's here.
Nix. Wow.
Nice. I stopped using it. Just
You're
not
still
using it now.
but you Ruben are using it a lot, Nix, aren't you?
I was using it at some point.
No, I have this error, but I have a also because I'm using Nix, I can just like I build everything from source, so I can just like for the Bosch CLI, I have a patch where I just so
Okay.
this no Mac metadata flag, it shouldn't be supplied like currently it does that for when on Mac OS, but there are people that do not use the Mac OS provided tar and get one from Nix, and then you run into issues because that flag is not available for the yeah, for the one provided by Nix. But it's fun that there's actual other people also running into the same issue. Ooh, even someone from SAP.
It's from SAP.
Okay. I will
Time to Ruben.
assign it to me.
Yeah. You're the right person for that.
Yes. Wait, I need to leave it open so that I don't forget to actually look at it. Why is it? Yes.
This is already implemented, right?
No. It's I know a little bit of background. It's in the end to resize the cloud
Yeah,
properties for this,
Yeah,
not
so
the
only
disk
the
size.
so only the properties, like if that needs more IOPS or
So for example, GP2 to GP3 on AWS. It was not possible to migrate this via Bosch because yeah, or it's possible, but Bosch will then attach the
Not
two disks to the VM and copy the data manually, and especially for big disks, this taking days. And the
yeah, so
better option is to use the Yes infrastructure feature for that. And
oh yeah, I remember now.
and I
so
think
this is about the IaaS native disk resize, but then do it not only resize but also updating cloud properties, right?
yes, right.
Um,
I think for the resize we already have it, but this is
yeah,
about the cloud properties.
Yeah, for the properties
but
it
that
was a bit more complicated because the disk size properties is a property, and the other one is within cloud properties,
yeah, and cloud properties is
which
like
makes it really annoying to get to propagate the values.
we probably would have to extend the CPI, right? Because you basically want to the director should ask the CPI, can I update this particular set of cloud properties through like a native update, or do I need to do the legacy, or not the legacy, the yeah, create a new one and copy the data over path?
Probably doesn't have to ask. It can just be like, here, do this thing. And if the CPI is like, no error, then Bosch director like, I'm going to migrate it myself.
Yeah, I think that's also
Sure.
the way we're doing for the resize.
Yeah. But it does mean that we need a new CPI
Sure.
command
But
called
it's
like update disk properties or something that CPIs need to implement.
properties.
It
Yes.
was also to get the proper values, because that's also not. It was also not really propagated through the, or you could not retrieve the values properly.
But-
I know, because they were nested within something else. If I remember correctly. Not sure, but
I mean, at some point, all the cloud properties get consolidated. I would assume Bosch could pass it the new and the old set. And it's like, hey, CPI, this is what the disk currently has, and this is what we want it to have. You solve this problem or throw me an error.
Oh, okay, so you completely give everything to the CPI in this.
Yeah, because Bosch can't know about what's going on in there. That's why they're cloud properties. It's like this is your job, CPI.
Mm.
That's the sort of boundary. So CPI is able to take it and be like, yes, I can transform this, and then it does, and it's successful. It seems like a good idea. Like the potential value for it isn't great. You know, it's like, oh, we got to do this thing every few years and we want to migrate some disks. It's like not a lot of, it's not a ton of value, and it's something that already works. It's just slow, which is bad for big disks. But like, it's a, given the amount of work it is to do this, like I would be
Maybe
shocked
it-
if this happens anytime soon.
I mean,
it-
for us,
like, if this
it's
some-
simply a blocker. We cannot run our update pipeline for
really?
weeks because we have so many big disks, and this would block our complete pipeline for a very long time.
Yeah, we do
So you
have
must work
scripts.
around a little bit. But I think the context of this issue is simply to discuss it, and as additional context, he mentioned that he will work on a draft PR.
Mm.
So maybe you can write down what you told me in the last 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
I think he might
Um,
already be proposing that, but I didn't read it closely.
Yeah.
But I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, he's proposing that. So like if you
Yeah.
could give him some pointers on what that CPI command should look like.
If I'm reading this correctly, he just wants the same ability that just the resize disk. This is not about the properties.
It's about the properties.
Yeah, IOPS and whatnot settings.
Yes.
It's all cloud
I
property
have
stuff.
so that's a yeah.
Mm. It's unrelated with resizing.
I don't really get the issue.
Apparently, if you have a dot and what the thing before the dot is another property, it blows up, which kind of sounds more like a bug than that the error message is unhelpful. Like that should be valid, I would think.
No.
Maybe you need to quote the
Because-
property name, but
Well, here you're assigning this thing to this
Then
like doesn't
This is just
Shouldn't
something
work.
that wouldn't work.
why not? Alla.bala is a totally different property. It just happens to have a dot inside of its name.
Ah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
but isn't it I thought the dot has a special meaning.
I thought so as well, but
Yeah,
Where?
because that's
is it in YAML or JSON? One of the two.
I mean, yeah, you might need to be
I mean-
quoting this.
no, but I mean like look at something like the cloud controller, right? Like
In the spec file, it has a special
Uh,
meaning.
this is in the spec file, right? Isn't it?
Yes, it's in the spec file.
No, this is in the manifest, isn't it?
No, with the
Oh,
spec
job
file,
with the
it's
spec
included.
file.
spec
Oh,
file.
In the manifest, the dots
this
are
is-
proper YAML substructures.
yeah. Okay, sorry. I saw properties and I thought this was a deployment manifest. Yeah, that's not allowed. So okay, maybe the error could be better.
When
Yeah,
you set
in
it-
the manifest YAML, there's no way to provide a value for the prefix indeed. Yes. Mm.
So apparently this generates an ugly error that doesn't make any sense. So you're just asking for a better error.
Mm. It's surprising. It's just like I didn't realize ever that this was a there was a limitation in there.
Yeah, I mean, because we're using YAML
Yeah.
key names to represent a hash structure.
Indeed, and when you think of what it is going to become in the deployment manifest, then you just don't want to do that. Yeah.
I mean, but to be fair, this is only affecting like release authors, right?
Indeed. For facilitating the release authoring cycle.
Publish
cycle.
as a Nix package.
If it's
Oh, but
easy,
this is
you can
Ramon,
do
right?
it. Never done this. Where do you place
Yeah.
it?
Here, somewhere.
You cannot put it in. Here?
Why start with the BBL? Why not just start with the Bosch CLI? Because that's also what you need.
Yeah, we should do all of them. If we have one, why not all?
All of them.
We already do for the APT, so why?
But Bosch CLI was the previous issue with the tar stuff and.
Yeah, I
Right.
know, but that's like I have all these things actually. There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
Just
but
not
you have
published.
the old version.
No, he
here.
wants, yeah. I mean, like this should just be committed back upstream. Okay.
Please, Ruben, could you contribute upstream?
You're really not incentivizing me to use Nix. It seems like people who use Nix get assigned to a lot of issues.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what you get for being
Right.
what's it?
Trying to be innovative.
An early adopter. No,
Well, once I have a new laptop, maybe at the end of this year, I will use Nix
You will
by
go
default.
try Nix
instead of-
again.
Yeah, the
It's
problem is
like a
I
New
always-
Year's Nix is like a New Year's resolution thing, I guess.
Yes.
It's this thing you try to do for 2 months and give up.
2 months is a long
I've
time.
been using it. I've been using it for a few years now. For people who
I
are
should-
interested, all my stuff is here.
The
I
problem
remember
with me
you
was
telling me
when-
about that.
When Nix changed
This
to
is-
that flag or something, to this other manifest style, and that's when they lost me.
But we're over time quite a bit. Thank you all for attending.
Yeah,
Mm.
Thank you.
See
thank
See you
you.
guys later.
Thank you all of
See
you.
you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye. See you next week.